Good afternoon, Board of Directors. Today we'd like to present to you our topic for an exhibit at the Canadian Museum of Human Rights, the Burma-Thai Railway. This tragic exploitation of over 200,000 prisoners of war and Asian laborers has created a long-lasting effect on the victims, making it a tragic crime against humanity. In World War II, during early 1942, Japan captured thousands of prisoners in Singapore and Java. A couple months later, Japan lost the Battle of Midway and could no longer guarantee the safe passage of their supplies and troops to their forces in Burma and New Guinea. They needed a new railway to ship supplies and looked to their prisoners to complete this railway as soon as possible. Living conditions were bearable in the Shanghai prison that the prisoners were in. However, after Japan deported them to Thailand and Burma to work on this 420-kilometer railway of hazardous terrain, harsh conditions were imposed on the soldiers to meet immediate deadlines. It was because of the mistreatment and thousands of deaths that gave this railway the nickname Railway of Death. Published war diaries from surviving soldiers provide insight to today's citizens about the horrible conditions which these prisoners of war worked. The terrain itself was a nightmare. Much of the railway was to be built upon mountains or in jungles. The largest and deepest cutting of rock during the construction was the infamous Hellfire Pass, which name was derived from the malnutritioned workers working at night by torchlight resembling hell. The laborers were not given sufficient tools, making most of the cutting largely done by hand, using shovels, drills, and explosives. Sir Harold's war diary explained the conditions they endured. Little or no sleep at night, very hot by day, and in all-metal box wagons, he claims. They worked up to 18 hours every day, receiving 250 grams of rice to eat. He says that men died at the rate of 20 per day. Another prisoner of war, Wary Dunlop, provided medical assistance to those working on the railway. He explains that the improvisation required by medical professionals, including using bamboo and buffalo hide to make artificial limbs and needles. Because of jungle ulcers, legs were amputated, but due to the lack of proper equipment, this operation was often done with saws borrowed from the Japanese. Although this railway took the lives of many honorable men, it was soon destroyed by bombs dropped by the Allies. The American government considered restoring the railway as it connected Thailand and Burma, but the cost was too high. In 1947, it was decided that the section in Burma would be torn apart, while the section occupying Thailand would be sold to the Thai government. Thailand shut down the railway, except for the 130-kilometer, which has become a popular attraction for tourists. Most of the railway is now lost to nature. We plan to create an art exhibit showcasing photographs, illustrations, and sculptures. By having a visual exhibit, visitors can more easily understand what conditions were like during the railway construction, as visitors would be able to see, through the visuals, the dangerous environments the workers were put in. Art generally triggers emotional response for viewers, therefore making it a good medium to create a connection between the visitors and the topic at hand. There are many photographs taken of the workers building the railway, and they would be a good primary source to use. They reflect the reality of the terrible situation and provide a sense of authenticity to the information being conveyed. Illustrations and sculptures would also be a good medium to put in the exhibit, as they are valuable sources of interpretation. Different perspectives would be conveyed with each different work and would provide a better understanding as to how people from the time of the event to today interpret this event. Complimentary audio headsets will also be provided for visitors to listen to as they tour the museum. The audio guide would explain to the visitors a little bit about each piece of artwork, as well as accounts from victims and analysis by historians relating to the piece. At the end of the exhibit, we will lay out a table with books and war diaries. This will allow visitors to learn in greater detail the experiences of the victims, as well as additional analysis of the event. The exhibit not only showcases the suffering and atrocities of the time period, but also come to confirm the courage and resilience of the people who worked on the railway. Although these prisoners had suffered from the humiliation of being defeated and captured, they have become portrayed as men who have triumphed over adversity. The crime against humanity is special because in 1941, the Japanese Minister of the Army issued a no-surrender law. This old traditional Japanese way of life was based upon the morals of honor. They believed it was honorable to fight until death and to die before surrendering. This explains their torturous treatment of their prisoners, because they deemed the prisoners unworthy of life for surrendering, and also because this mistreatment was not necessarily illegal. We plan to partner with some organizations, such as the Thailand-Burma Railway Center and the Hellfire Pass Memorial Museum. These organizations provide a lot of information and artifacts, as well as research on the railway. The Imperial War Museum of London also has a collection of art on the railway, which we plan to borrow. Additionally, various of survivors have also shared their story and experiences as well, in the form of journals and diaries. Because they are first-hand accounts, they would provide insight on the event. We acknowledge the fact that our exhibit could face opposition from Japanese Canadians or visitors with Japanese backgrounds. This exhibit displays the horrible legacies of the Japanese during the World War II, which may bring shame or humiliation or anger to people with Japanese backgrounds. Although this may bring a negative connotation upon the Japanese, it is unlikely for much protest to happen because many acknowledge the atrocities that occurred during the war. We hope you take the Burma Thai Railway into consideration as a special exhibit for the museum. We believe Canadians and international visitors alike should have the opportunity to learn about this tragic event from World War II in order to better understand different perspectives surrounding the reasons why humans commit such atrocities on each other. Thank you for your time and attention, and we hope to hear from you soon.